So for them, it's 0 changes to the starting lineup. So we can mention that off the top. What do you want for opening statement? Is this one?
Ladies and gentlemen, the officiating crew for today's match is as follows. Referee is David Barry. The assistant referees are Amilcar Sikahu and Stepan Jeva. The fourth official is Christian Centeno. It's now time to announce today's starting lineup for the visiting Indy 11. The goalkeeper number 1, Evan Newton. Defender number 29, Patty Barrett. Defender number 21, Alex Cronelli. Defender number 15, Neviel Hackshaw. Defender number 7, Jose Garcia. Midfielder number 6, Nico Matern. Midfielder number 4, Tyler Gibson. Midfielder number 23, Tyler Pasher. Midfielder number 3, Macaulay King. At forward number 17, James Kelly. And at forward number 10, Tomas Inivolson. The head coach of Indy 11 is Mr. Martin Rennick. And today, starting for your New York Red Bulls 2, the goalkeeper number 24, Evan Lauro. Defender number 91, Reese Buckmaster. Defender number 15, Sean Eunice. Defender number 35, Jordan Scarlett. Defender number 6, Kyle Duncan. Midfielder number 80, Chris Lema. Midfielder number 8, Sean Christoph Kofi. Midfielder number 88, the captain, Vincent Guzikort.
welcome everybody to MSU Soccer Park for USL Championship action on ESPN+. New York Red Bull Sioux hosting Indy 11. David Goss and Steve Jolly on the call with you. And Steve, it's early in the season, but already a big one. This was the second and third place teams in the East coming into this weekend.
David, it's a big one. These are two dynamic offensive teams. You got Red Bull New York, who scored 14 goals already in the season, and Indy 11 has scored 11 goals.
Absolutely. This Indy 11 team has been explosive so far this year. And when we look at these two squads coming in opposite in their last games, New York Red Bulls 2, their first loss of the season. Indy 11 went on the road, got their third road win of the year at Bethlehem Steel, and it was led by that attack and the man up top, Dane Kelly, Steve, who's going to be the danger man once again today.
We're obviously going to focus a lot of our attention on Dane Kelly. You're looking at just right there, the USL leading scorer all time, 67 goals. Jamaican is always influential in any game that he plays.
Coming off a rough year with DC United, but back in USL Championship and doing what he does best, scoring goals in this division. And on the flip side, Steve, the guy who's going to try and slow him down, Sean Nealis, who has played every single minute so far this year.
Yeah, Mr. Consistency in the back. I always like to see it, the old defender. Next thing you know, this is a guy that's gone through not only 6 matches, he'll start his 7th match today. He's played every single minute for this Red Bull 2 team.
Great size, Sean Nealis, good in the air, but he'll have to deal with the speed of Dane Kelly today on the ground. It should be a fun one. Coming up here, last year these two teams split the series. Combined, they scored over 9 goals in their 2 matchups. Coming up next, we've got first half action here on ESPN+.
With MSG Go, the game goes where you go. So you can watch live Red Bulls games anywhere you want. It's free and easy because if you get MSG, you get MSG Go. Watch your favorite team wherever you are with MSG Go, presented by Lexus. Download it for free where you get your apps.
Gets it back. He will take a strike.
Played in. Laurel gets a hand to it.
Denied by Laurel from point blank.
He's standing on his head right now.
Marcus Epps finds some space.
Barlow putting it in, back of the net. No slowing down, number 74. New York puts the exclamation point on this one tonight to go up 4-0.
New York Red Bull 2 trying to get back to winning ways here at home, and they will try and do so against an Indy 11 team that is on a run right now. David Goss and Steve Jolly on the call for you. Let's take a look at the starting lineup. No changes to the starting lineup that beat Bethlehem Steel 3-0. Evan Newton, last year's Golden Gloves winner with FC Cincinnati, returns from a little-known soccer hotbed called Virginia Beach.
Love to hear that. You talked about Newton and obviously Kelly, but you also got to need to focus on number 7, Ayose. He's an attacking midfielder that's dangerous. When he gets the ball at his feet, he likes running at players.
Leading chance creator in the entire USL Championship. On the flip side, for Red Bull 2, Tom Barlow up top has 6 goals already this year. And then Vincent Bezecourt, who was on the bench yesterday for New York Red Bulls in MLS, he returns at that number 10 position.
Yeah, you look at Stroud, Bezecourt, and also Epps, and up top, Tom Barlow, who had 6 goals in 6 games. He's always dangerous, very athletic, very big target man. He's going to create chances today.
And get this, Steve. John Wolyniec there you see, and Martin Rennie on the other side. Rennie in his second year as Indy 11 head coach, has coached all around the world in Asia as well as across in Major League Soccer and USL and PDL. But John Wolyniec's had great success. 4 years as a coach, 4 playoffs, 3 Eastern Conference championships. If they win today, it would be their best start ever, though, in their first 5, their quickest to this point in his history.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much that you can say about John. Tremendous talent on the field at playing in Major League Soccer. Now he's showing just how good he is as a coach, and he's done a tremendous job. And it's going to be difficult for this Red Bull organization to keep a guy like him for the long run.
So Indy 11, the away team, will kick us off in their blue kits with blue shorts, going right to left on your monitors, and New York Red Bulls too in their alternate gray jerseys with the red numbers and gray shorts, going left to right on your monitor to start this one out for this New York Red Bull 2 team. Steve, their first loss of the season just last weekend here at home. How do they bounce back from a game like that?
Yeah, this is a team that's created a lot of chances over the course of the season against Loudoun United. They didn't play exceptionally well, to be honest with you, and they gave up a quick goal against them, and they really never recovered. And today we're going to see a couple different players, different lineup. I think they're more comfortable with that whole 4-2-3-1 kind of position. And Tom Barlow, who's been a tremendous talent here in 2019, is going to get more minutes than he did against Loudoun United.
Last year, Indy 11 coming here to New Jersey, lost 4-1 to New York Red Bulls 2, and then returned the favor with a 3-0 victory at home later on this season. So we do expect a ton of goals in this one. And Steve, this Indy 11 team has added, as Evan Laurel takes Dane Kelly out of his boots on that one. But this Indy 11 team has added even more attacking pieces from what they were last year.
Yeah, this is a team that, for a lot of people who haven't seen yet, this is a very attacking-minded team. And I'll sit out for here for Tom. But, yeah, this is an Indy 11 team that's, we can't underestimate and really devalue how successful this team has been on the road. I mean, the last 4 games, 3 have been on the road where they've gotten wins, and this is a team that's hoping to get 5 straight wins on the road. 5 straight wins, and that's not easy in USL where there's so much parity.
Also, congestion in their lineups. They had basically 2 games in 4 days in which they knocked off Swope Park Rangers on the road with a 3-1 win, and then Bethlehem Steel. They've got more fixture congestion coming up. They've got 2 more games over the next 8 days. That attack led by Dane Kelly, but flanked up top by Tyler Pasher, who returns for another season with Indy 11, and Thomas Enevoldsen out of Aalborg, Denmark, who had 20 goals last year with Orange County. So potency across this front line, and we mentioned the threat that IOZ will bring up that left wing. On the flip side for New York Red Bulls too, they were the 2nd best goal-scoring team in all of USL in 2018, and they are currently the 2nd best team in 2019.
And you add a guy like Bezecourt, comes from Red Bull last night, and here's a player that is a game changer in USL.
Stroud with the cross put in and knocked away.
Yeah, whenever he gets the ball at his feet, he's always creating opportunities for his teammates.
Lima will knock it out. Reese Buckmaster, once again, swapping wings, has started at right and left back this season as Stroud's ball is knocked away. Brought down by Epps, looking for some space, and finally cleared away by Alex Cronali.
And there's a player that we're going to talk a lot about tonight. I'm sure Kyle Duncan, who has absolutely no fear going forward. Usually teams up with Epps quite well on that right-hand side when they play together.
Marcus Epps, a bright start to the season. His first with New York Red Bulls. He's got 1 goal, 3 assists already. Steve, what have you seen from this young player?
Well, the thing is that I kind of really respect, and I think it has a lot to do with the comfortableness of all these players knowing kind of the style that Red Bull likes to play. But you can see he knows his role, he knows his responsibilities, and when he gets a chance to play, he steps in. He's aggressive in terms of how he gets forward, especially in the final third, and it's fun to see.
Epps now first chance to get on it here. His cross knocked away at the near post. It'll be the first corner kick of the game. A cold, overcast day here in Montclair, New Jersey. New York Red Bulls too. A very home-heavy schedule to start the year here, and they are 4-1-1, coming into the weekend at number 2 in the Eastern Conference. It'll be limited take. Knocked down at the near post. Will be out for a goal kick.
And you know, Dave, this team creates so many opportunities. It's just, I mean, if you haven't had a chance and you're tuning in to us today and you haven't seen Red Bull 2 play, one of the things that kind of marks what this team is all about, especially with the four in the front, Stroud and Barlow and Epps and Bezecourt today, these are four creative players that have, you know, just no fear getting forward in the final third. You'll see them a lot of times, you know, kind of put their head down and just kind of go at players, and it's just fun to watch.
Stroud and Bezecourt tied all-time 13 assists. So they are the leaders in New York Red Bull 2 history. Barlow already 6 goals this season, which doesn't include a goal against Birmingham Legion, in which the game got canceled.
Yeah.
You should still get credit on the stats.
That's random, so random, but that's okay.
You went out against a full starting team when you scored a goal.
Yeah.
You got to respect the scoreboard, you know?
I can tell you, I'd be pushing for
Yeah,
it.
for sure. As a
No,
defender. How many goals did you score in your career? Don't act like you don't know.
I think, you know, we made mention of it at the broadcast last night. I think it was 12 goals.
Oh, that's a good
Yeah,
number.
actually, I think known as the leading goal scorer in Red Bull history. Only because defender, of course, but only because of course.
I was like, what does that mean?
Yeah, what does that mean? Just because I just randomly got the end of the back post every once in a while and put
Nice.
my big head on the ball every once in a while.
Bezecourt closing space here. It's into the feet of Stroud, looking for Barlow immediately. Hackshaw trying to close. Knock back for Epps. Clipped in at diving header from Bezecourt will go over the top.
And you could see there, Shroud's probably going to want that one back in terms of how he weighted that pass to Barlow. If he weighted it just a little bit better, Barlow could have had that first time, but a nice little heel back. And you see Epps puts his head up right away. He knows exactly what he wanted to do in terms of trying to put it to that far post. And Bezecourt loves seeing that going in and trying to get a diving header there.
For this Indy 11 back line, they've been really good this year, coming off a shutout. You're starting with those 3 center backs. Tom Barlow, the only true forward.
Yeah.
What's the responsibilities for those center backs?
Yeah, you know, and this is something that I think, you know, especially with Indy 11, having 3 in the back, you know, they feel like they have a responsibility of knowing that they just have to focus on, at least on the center side of, you know, hey, we got to keep an eye out on Barlow. Obviously, he's a dangerous player. Cernali's going to obviously keep communicating. But the one thing that I think they're going to get caught on, and you're going to see this right here, is that the way that Epps and Stroud push forward, they're going to find some space, and they're going to find space often with only 3 defenders to play against.
Epps' shot knocked away. It was Jean-Christophe Kofi who broke the lines on that pass. Kofi in his second year with New York Red Bulls too, but didn't make any appearances after joining late in the year last year.
Yeah, Kofi's one of my faves, right, to be honest with you, man. I've seen this guy quite a bit, and I just love that he's not too flashy, solid, very comfortable on the ball, not afraid to be a little bit physical, and I just think he kind of fits that 6 spot really well for this Red Bull team, especially the way the formation is in terms of, you know, having the 4 in the back and then his responsibility of staying because they're going to commit numbers, so many numbers for it. He's a solid player for me.
And you see that pass that he made to start that last attack for Kofi. A lot of times to start this season, everything was back to a center back's feet, but now he's starting to break lines and be more aggressive as this one's crossed into the box, which is what Coach Wolenek was looking for.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's evolving your game. That's one of the things I think Kofi has definitely evolved in the last, couple weeks alone, is that he's starting to feel a little bit more comfortable about playing the ball a little bit more diagonal instead of.
This one on the far post will run out. Indy 11 in their second year in USL. Finished 7th in the Eastern Conference last year on 49 points, lost to the 2-time champions Louisville in the first round 4-1 of the playoffs. They also dropped in the opening round of the U.S. Open Cup for them against a PDL side in Mississippi Brilla. Now USL League 2, of course. U.S. Open Cup will kick off, I believe, in 2 weeks. So all these teams an opportunity. It's one of 3 trophies you can win a regular season, as well as, of course, the USL Championship. Duncan here in the tackle. Falls to Epps. Now Bezecourt flying forward. And for the feet of Barlow. It's cleared away by the captain, Patty Barrett. Now Enil Volson starts the attack the other way. Pass Pasher with the big switch of the field for Iose. And Voltson comes over to help him. Looking into the feet once again here of Pasher. And Scarlett able to hold him off and win the goal kick.
You would have to think for Indy 11, this is kind of one of the games that kind of mark as, one of their, difficult games or more difficult games, a big test for this Indy 11 team. And, you mentioned the three in the back, this is going to be a tough one for them. And, and I'm going to kind of factor on a lot of things in terms of just how they're going to, as a formation, but how they're communicating, because there's so many runners that this Red Bull team throws out there. I mean, even their outside backs, they're obviously known for Kyle Duncan and Buckmaster today. They're given the green light, and how they organize themselves with only three in the back with these many numbers is going to be something that we're definitely going to be looking at today.
Konali flicks this one over the top. This was a game, talking to both coaches, that they were very excited about.
Yeah.
All of what you were saying. This is their chance to show what they can do and react to other teams, which these are two of the teams in USL that play a unique style, different than what you're seeing week in and week out.
Yeah, it's a fun one to watch. I mean, I'm a big fan of USL and seeing young players get opportunities, and kind of even thinking about, John last night I saw and was speaking to him at the game last night, for the MLS side. And in the moment that they kind of decided that Bezecourt was going to be playing today, I mean, they were in the locker room going over set pieces together. And it was pretty, it just shows you just how focused these guys are in terms of what they think, in terms of opportunities for these players to get some quality minutes. And, Bezecourt is a special player, and we're going to see him today, just how comfortable he is on the ball. But you look at guys like Kyle Duncan and Nealis. I mean, there's so many players that have been able and fortunate enough to play on the MLS side. And you saw here Kofi in terms of how comfortable he is on the ball. Gets pulled down right there, but Kofi is definitely a special talent, and what a career there at University of Virginia. And I know Red Bull New York is happy to have him.
It's going to be a good battle in that midfield. Nico Matern, as well as Tyler Gibson on the flip side. Gibson, a big season last year with FC Cincinnati, one of the highly rated players out of UNC Charlotte that's put together some really good seasons in college soccer. And Matern, out of the St. Pauli Academy in Germany, started 27 games last year in USL, was a linchpin for this team in midfield. So that battle is going to be fun. It'll be Lemma to take this one. Once again, met at the near post.
There's one slight criticism I have of the Red Bull 2 team is, I just don't see them getting on the end of these set pieces enough. They create so many chances. We talk about the numbers. Obviously, with the numbers, there's a lot of, set pieces, direct and indirect, that you see around the boxes for this Red Bull 2 team. And I'd like to see them finish it off a little bit more. Guys like Scarlett and guys like, Nealis, these are big target men that, there should be, more opportunities for these guys to put those in the back of the net as well.
Epps not able to keep possession. King with the big switch. Scarlett out to meet Kelly. Kelly trying to take him early on, gets through, and it's off the hands of Loro and in. Dane Kelly, the all-time leading goal scorer in USL Championship history, and he is on fire to start the season in 2019.
Oh, good individual effort, and you got to give all the credit in the world to King with a nice long ball here. You see Kelly lines him up, and, Scarlett's obviously got to do a little bit better here. Slow to support is Kyle Duncan, and he finds that back post, and Loro tried to the best of his ability to get on in it, push it wide, but King does a great job putting it to the back post and giving this Indy 11 team, even though they have much of the possession here in the first 13 minutes, allows this Indy 11 team up 1-0.
Last week's USL Player of the Week had 2 goals against Swope Park Rangers. That's his 4th goal of the season. Martin Rennie, the perfect start for his team here on the road. The final road game of a long road stretch to start the year before Indy 11 goes home for 5 straight at Lucas Oil Stadium, and they would love to steal 3 points off of the team sitting right ahead of them in the standings.
Well, he did a great job there. King lifted his head up, played a long ball. He saw Kelly was isolated with Scarlett, and you got to give this Indy 11 team all the credit in the world. This is exactly what you want to play. You get an opportunity to go 1v1 with the one of the better all-time greats of USL, Kelly. Then you get him the ball in the space.
Be sure to tune in Wednesday, April 30th for the USL Game of the Week featuring new expansion side Memphis 901 visiting two-time defending USL Cup champions Louisville City FC. It's the week's best match of the game. It's coming up April 30th for you at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. That game, of course, available for you here on ESPN+.
You and I were talking to Coach Jarwolniak before the game. He said this was going to be a tough game, and I'm sure he's going to see how his team responds to being down here in the first 15 minutes. You never like giving up a goal in that first 10 or 15 minutes, especially at home, and how this team responds is going to be important.
And a Voltson charging in here. Opposite, Steve, from what they did last game against Loudon, a fourth-minute goal by Jorgensen, and then Red Bull 2 fell asleep after that one.
Exactly. And that's partly one of the reasons why I said that is just like you could see how frustrated Coach Jarwolniak was when you get that early lead and you give up, a goal just a couple minutes later to Loudon United. And Loudon United never looked back. I mean, they were just they were solid and just gained more and more confidence as the game went along.
One of the upsets of the season, Loudon with their first win against the New York Red Bull 2 team that was undefeated at the time. Kelly looking for the flick, and now Scarlett will play it straight out. Indy 11, their first real look of the game there, and they got the goal, and that's why you go out and get a guy like Dane Kelly in the offseason for games like this in USL on the road when you know it's going to be tough to really pull something out of nowhere and help give your team a lift.
There's no question the guy's a difference maker. He scores 68 goals in USL. You can kind of know what to expect when that guy gets the ball at his feet.
It'll be a deep throw in here for Indy 11. It'll be Macaulay King, the right back who had the assist on the goal. 23-year-old out of England. It's his fifth start of the season. Has started the last 5 games in a row. As we mentioned, same starting lineup for Martin Rennie as he started against Bethlehem in the last game. And with Eugene Starikov and Ilya Illich out injured, this really his best lineup that he can go with. Bezecourt to the feet of Buckmaster. And closed there by Patty Barrett. Buckmaster, Steve, normally a right back, playing at left back in this one. You can see a little uncomfortable playing that ball up the line with the left foot.
Yeah, and this is actually the second time that I've seen Buckmaster on this left-hand side, and it's partly usually because not that he wants to play on the left-hand side, is that the other player is more comfortable on the right-hand side, and maybe that's a good thing in terms of, feeling comfortable on both sides. But you can see that, on the left-hand side, and the ball at his feet on the left is not necessarily the same in terms of his comfortableness as he is on the right-hand side, which is played by Kyle Duncan today.
Duncan flying forward now. Epps has him as an option. Will play it to Duncan's feet. Kyle Duncan, his second USL appearance of 2019. A bright start to the season in 2018 for Duncan. Tore his ACL on the road against Orlando City in MLS action, which put him out for the rest of the year. For a young 20-year-old player, first time playing professional soccer, was really heartbreaking to see.
Yeah, to say the least, and something I can have complete empathy with. My rookie year in Major League Soccer, and back in the day, I tore my ACL, and it's never fun, and it takes a lot to get back, and it's good to see him, and you can see as he gains in more and more confidence. It really takes you, and I know they say it's a 6-month injury, and it's not. It's a 6-month injury maybe physically, but emotionally and psychologically, it takes you a couple more months to get through. And you can see that he's starting to get more and more comfortable with himself and how strong he is. Unfortunately for Red Bull, they fight, with that injury with a couple players. We mentioned, Flo.
Yeah, Florian Velo.
Yeah, Velo. I mean, that poor guy has had both knees now, and it's just so sad to see.
And one of the all-time greats in New York Red Bull 2 history, Florian Velo, had a great 2018 as well for New York Red Bulls. Tore his ACL, fought back to return this year. Finally got in the starting lineup. Started the first game here for New York Red Bull 2, and then in Columbus for New York Red Bulls before tearing his ACL for the second time. And our best wishes go out to him. So he looks to fight back once again. Lemo out wide for Duncan. New York Red Bulls 2 looking for the equalizer here. Duncan with the clip ball. And it goes past Newton's goal.
And for me, this is when Red Bull usually excels the most, is when they pitch those outside backs high and they get for it. Hal Duncan with all the time in the world to try to serve that one in. Looked like Tom Barlow just barely missed it, near post run. But you're going to start seeing Buckmaster and Duncan get forward a little bit more. I'd like to see Stroud get the ball at his feet a little bit more than what we've seen so far here in the first 15, 20 minutes.
Our head official, David Barry, for this one. Emily Carr Sikahu, his first assistant referee. Stepan Dejvu, his other assistant referee, and Christian Centeno. Turnover here, a chance to get forward for Indy 11. Haven't had any looks since the goal. Every time they've gotten in that final third, they've looked dangerous. Epps trying to play out the other way. He's able to keep that one in. Well defended by Tyler Pasher. This would be a big result for Indy 11, but already a big week for this club. The Indiana State Senate this week voting to pass a bill that would give space for this Indy 11 team to build their own soccer-specific stadium in Indianapolis, a privately funded stadium, as this club continues to grow and grow since they were founded in 2013. And Steve, the sport continues to grow here in the U.S. and Canada.
Yeah, it's just amazing to see.
Stroud looking for some space, clips it to no one. It's Buckmaster now is the first one there. New York Red Bulls too, pushing numbers into the attack now. Buckmaster up top for Bezecourt, who lays it off not to a teammate, and now Indy 11 can counter. And it's a foot race between Kelly and Scarlett. Kelly wins that one once again. Fans of New York Red Bulls too, and the rest of the USL Championship you can follow all season long on ESPN Plus, home to USL, MLS, UFC, and more. Join the over 2 million sports fans who have already discovered ESPN Plus and watch the championship live every week. And Barlow back to the feet of Bezecourt. It kind of looked like caught between two minds there.
Yeah, Steve. I agree with you. At one point, it looked like he wanted to play that first time, but he was worried about his angle. You know, you mentioned Kelly and him being isolated a little bit more than we've seen Scarlett. Here again, we see Barlow taking it to the end line, looking back, 45-degree angle, and you could see Bezecourt was like, wait, do I take one more touch? Do I hit it? Here's my thing. Always hit it. Nobody ever complains to you when you shot inside the box and you take a shot, right?
Unless you're the one wide open guy who's there for a layoff.
I was talking about, isolating Kelly up top. I mean, I think it's a combination of Nealis and Scarlett doing a little bit better job. You know, you've got two defenders there. You know Kelly's going to be their only front runner. One of you got to take a little bit more kind of aggressive and personal step up to him.
Space here for Barlow, and his shot flashes wide. Took a touch from Newton, so it'll be a corner kick coming here. Big Tom Barlow, his second year of professional soccer. Scored his first career professional goal last year in this matchup, the 4-1 win at home against Indy 11. That one was a stoppage time luxury goal.
Just the amount, quantity of chances that he's gotten this shocked me the most in 2019. I mean, each game he's gotten 4 to 6 legitimate opportunities to put the ball in the back of the net. Quite honestly, he probably should have more than 6 goals for the season.
Lemma to take this one. And this one, once again, low at the near post, knocked away easily. Lemma looking for a second bite at it. Lays it off for Buckmaster, and Pasher working doggedly defensively, and he wins possession for his team.
And that's what I was talking about in terms of the set pieces. I think this Red Bull team needs to be a little bit better on the set pieces, and that's a good example. You've got guys like Nealis, who's 6'5". I mean, put it in the box and let him go after it.
It's also something that Red Bulls as a club, top down, are normally pretty good with.
Yeah.
And they normally don't have a size advantage on a lot of games, and now you bring in Nealis and you bring in Barlow and Kofi, and you have those opportunities. Clipped up the line. That one hit King in the hand, and finally, Stepan Dejvu's flag goes up, so it'll be a free kick coming here for New York. Buckmaster will take it quickly. Back into his feet. He can't find Stroud.
Again, you're seeing him a little bit more uncomfortable on this left-hand side than the right-hand side. Hopefully he'll settle in a little bit.
Indy able to break out. It's Iose flying forward. He's able to switch the field for Kelly. A little bit too far in front of the Jamaican international.
There he sees that his number one responsibility as a defender is to make sure that he doesn't give guys like Kelly the opportunity to run behind him.
New York Red Bull Sioux trailing 1-0 at home against Indy 11. It was Dane Kelly's 4th goal of the season, assisted by Macaulay King in the 13th minute, the difference maker. Steve, a few minutes since that goal, halfway through this first half, what have you seen from New York? What would you like to see change?
Yeah, I mean, you can see they have the possession, Red Bull. I think they need to be a little bit better and a little bit sharper in the final third. There's nothing wrong with pressing numbers. You can see that there's going to be opportunities that are going to create themselves. I'd like to see defensively this Red Bull team be a little bit better in terms of knowing exactly where Kelly is on the field and just isolate him and maybe man mark him. For Indy 11, this is going to be a difficult game, no question, and they've done exactly what you wanted them to do. They kind of weathered the storm in the first 15, 20 minutes. They got the goal. All credit to King. Seeing that Kelly was wide open, and he played a great 30, 40-yard ball, and Kelly did what he does best, and that's put it in the back of the net.
And this is kind of the script for Indy 11 is if you can withstand the first 20 minutes, normally opposing teams against New York will find possession more around the 30th minute as New York tires out a little or gets frustrated. Bezecourt looking through for Barlow there, and it's knocked away. So for this Indy 11 side, you'd like more possession, but this is going the way you want as Pasture's flying forward once again.
Yeah, you can see Red Bull does a little bit better job defensively getting numbers behind the ball. Forces Indy 11 to go back, and that's exactly what you want to see. But, here's that pressure that you kind of come to know about the Red Bull organization. Like once they give up the ball, they try to win it back as quickly as possible.
Newton will loft this one up the field. Knocked down by Barrett. Coach Martin Rennie said Dane Kelly was close to signing with Indy 11 last year, but at the last minute chose to go with an offer from DC United. Ended up only making 3 appearances for DC United. Spent a little bit of time on loan with the Richmond Kickers. Got 4 appearances and a goal with the Kickers, but for a guy who has poured in goals throughout his career, it was a frustrating year. He is back with a vengeance in 2019.
You see right here, he's a big body. I mean, it's not easy playing against a guy like Scarlett and Nealis, but he's talented, and you can see that he has absolutely no fear when it comes to placing balls, and he played a great ball to the back post. Nothing really Laura could do there on that goal.
23 goals over the course of 2 years with Charleston. Joined Swope Park Rangers, had 18 goals in 2017 with Reno, and of course starts with Jamaica. You talk about a guy like Sean Nealis. This is his first time playing professional soccer. He's going up against a guy who's played in CONCACAF qualifying, who has scored all those goals. It's just a different level for Sean Nealis to get to.
Yeah, it's an evolution for the
shot here from Bezecourt, knocked away by Newton. Handled perfectly by the 2018 Golden Glove winner. And Nealis wins that battle. Bezecourt trying to inject a little bit of energy into this New York Red Bull 2 squad.
You were asking about Sean, and one of the things that Sean had the luxury of is getting some quality minutes on the MLS side as well, and it's just an evolution for a player like that. You just kind of start getting more and more comfortable with getting minutes. The idea that you're practicing every single day and getting some quality competition. I mean, USL is big time. I mean, you can see just how talented these players are, and Sean's kind of stepping up to his role and responsibility of, playing day in, day out for this Red Bull organization.
Gibson able to work through midfield out to the feet of Pasher. Pasher turns it over. Epps reads that one. He's got a lot of blue shirts in front of him, just Barlow to help. As Stroud follows up the attack. Epps shoots it himself and into the arms of Newton.
That's actually something I'd like to see more. The Epps does. He recognizes the fact that doesn't have many options, but he gets enough space to why not test the keeper? You never know, and the weather or whatever it may be, and the turf. Just give it a go. Give it a try. Nothing wrong with that.
we saw in the Chelsea Man U game.
Yeah.
If you take a shot, sometimes good things happen. Buckmaster will restart the attack for New York Red Bulls too. As we said, the second highest scoring team in the league last year. Second in goals per game this year already. Trailing and shut out right now, midway through this first half. And Patty Barrett comes over and guides Reese Buckmaster off the ball.
That's a nice way of saying it, guides him.
You can see why he's wearing that captain's armband there for Barrett. A 25-year-old out of Ireland. That was one of the things Martin Rennie spoke with us about before the game was in USL, because you don't have that limit on international players or the same limit. Said you can find some really interesting players from around the world. He's got guys on this roster who have over 50 caps with the South Korean national team. Guys from Ireland, Jamaica, Canada, all across the world. You get some really cool collections of talent.
You do, and I know Hartford tried to do the same thing with their team, and maybe not as successful so far. But it's almost, if you're not built within an organization like the Loudoun Uniteds, like the Red Bull Twos, then it's important that you get creative. And some of these teams have done it with success, and some haven't. And obviously Indy 11 is a perfect example of a team that have found some talented players abroad and put them on this platform, and they're responding well.
An experienced squad for Indy 11. Only some youth in there, and they have 2 players on USL Academy deals in this Indy 11 team, both of who will attend college next year. Marco Perez, a backup goalkeeper, and Joshua Penn, who's committed to the Indiana University, a USU 19 striker.
I mean, we haven't really given credit enough about the loan system. Guys like Cronali obviously getting some important minutes that he's going to need.
Alex Cronali, All-American at Maryland, homegrown signing for Columbus Crew on his second year on loan. Hackshaw loses it there. Cronali, 20 starts for Orange County last year. This year a chance to play under Martin Rennie. Bezecourt in a little bit of space. We've seen the drive from Bezecourt that you always see, but hasn't come off so far. What do you think Coach Wolenek can do to make it a little easier for him?
Well, usually he dominates the pace of play for Red Bull. He's a player that has absolutely no fear whatsoever, demanding the ball, getting the ball at his feet, and deciding how fast or how slow he'd like the build-up to be. I think it's a question of, with him having 3 in the back and more numbers in the midfield, it's kind of swallowed him up a little bit. So he just needs to do a better job of recognizing it and making sure that he finds the space a little bit better and sooner. I mean, that same thing could be said with Stroud. I mentioned earlier. I mean, here's a player, a very talented player. It's very creative, gets forward a lot, but he's just not finding the game yet.
Kofi there looked like he had an easy interception. You can get updates and alerts all year long by following your club on ESPN.com. Search for New York Red Bulls 2, and then click the follow button. Same for Indy 11, of course. And keep up with the latest news and scores, plus get reminders on New York Red Bulls 2 and Indy 11's next matches. Go to ESPN.com now and click follow for your club. Bezecourt into the feet of Stroud. Stroud now gets the shot away. Another easy one for Newton. The shot's starting to collect here for this New York Red Bull 2 squad.
Well, you can see Bezecourt finding the game now. He's outbound Stroud, and Stroud now you can see putting some pace in, finds Kofi.
A long shot once again taken by Newton.
And this is exactly what Red Bull needs. Still, 15 minutes or so left in this first half. Testing the keeper, Newton, a little bit more often now, starting to find the game a little bit. And you see Kofi, I mean, he knew exactly what he wanted to do there. He put his head down, and even after the first touch, he was going to take a shot.
Final 10 or so minutes of this first half. It's been the perfect start for Indy 11. And Steve, one of the things this Red Bull 2 staff has talked to us about is when they go down, it's hard for them to get back in games because teams don't feel the need to play with the ball on their feet, and their press generates so much of their attack.
And that's true. And when you see a team like Indy 11 that has a guy like Kelly, why not just let's counter. We got the lead. Let's try to hold on, put numbers behind the ball, and throw it up to him as much as possible.
Evan Loro beating on that shot. Really the only chance he's faced so far. New York Red Bulls, too, out shooting Indy 11 7-1 so far in this game. 3-1 shots on goal. Bezecourt out wide for Barlow. Barlow will look for a teammate in the middle. Falls for Epps, and he puts it just wide. It was a fortunate deflection on the cross, but the opportunity Epps wanted.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to see this more often as the game goes along. You see Bezecourt does a great job finding Barlow, has plenty of time to throw it on top of the 18-yard box, and Epps just needs to be a little bit better with that one, right? And he knows it. He definitely knows it. But those opportunities are going to come more often for this Red Bull team. They, like I said, they create so many great opportunities. They just have to be a little bit better, a little bit sharper in that final third.
Long header back, and Hackshaw will find his teammates' hands in Newton, and a big throw out for Iose. Iose, of course, familiar with this area, playing for the New York Cosmos. On his way across from Spain here to the United States. Has now spent 3 years with Indy 11. One of the guys we talked about at the beginning, one of the best technical players, you could say, in the entire league.
Yeah. He can wax poetic for the next 10 or 15 minutes about how good he is.
And I like that he gets title as a fullback sometimes. And it's like, I don't know that fullbacks create chances like that.
I was going to say.
Long ball through the feet of Stroud.
That might be our position, but you and I are kind of right parallel with Nealis and Scarlett. And I think it kind of concerns me, especially with a guy like Kelly. And it's just the communication is just not there. It's just really not there. I'd like to see one of them just take a more kind of a louder role, I guess is a better way of saying it, and just making sure that it's organized.
Scarlett, the longest tenured New York Red Bull 2 player. Not the most games, though. That's Evan Loro. Nealis, as we said, in his first year as a professional, signed out of Hofstra through the MLS Super Draft, spent the preseason with the MLS squad, was on the bench for CCL, made his MLS debut against Columbus Crew. Pasher pushes it wide. That will make the overlapping run for Iose, who comes inside. Good purpose and direction to this Indy 11 attack when they do push forward.
And see, look, you can see Red Bull so slow to get the numbers across. You're not used. I'm not used to personally seeing this. Usually, I'm seeing numbers, especially on the outside, running like crazy. This is all individual performances that we're seeing right now from the top four.
Stroud tries to get by the first defender. He goes down, and the whistle goes against him. Believe it was a handball after falling down.
I think so. You can see his reaction. He thinks the same thing. If he knew he was going to get a penalty kick, he'd probably be a little bit more animated.
Stroud here on this cross. Tries to sidestep the first man. And then his left hand does go on the ball. As he goes down. Penalty for you or no?
No, not for me. You're tougher than I am.
No.
I'm going to give it most often than not to the defenders, right?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Listen, unless you get taken down by a full battalion, it's not a penalty. That one goes over both Kelly and Nealis. Second cross in here towards the far post. Kofi knocks it down. Let's see if there's something you see about this Red Bull 2 squad when they are pressing and creating chances. Energy, excitement, and you're not seeing it here so far.
I'm not seeing it. Usually, when there's an opportunity to counterattack, this is an organization and a team and players that traditionally just get forward like with reckless abandon, especially on the guys on the outside. We talk about Buckmaster and Duncan, and those are two players that we haven't mentioned at all in the first half. Kyle Duncan has all the talent in the world to get forward, and he's just, as you can see here, more of a defensive responsibility right now. Like to see him team up with Epps, because Epps has had quite a few opportunities so far, but the outside backs just need to be more involved. And you can see right here, this is an opportunity for Buckmaster also to get involved because Stroud's going to try to get to the back post.
Epps flying forward. He's got two defenders around him, gets a left-footed shot away, softly into the feet of Barrett. And now Indy 11 looking to go back the other way. Jordan Scarlett coming in. The crunching tackle. That'll be our first yellow card of the game.
And a deserving one. Scarlett a little late getting in, and see here, he's a good step or two late. Comes in late, pushes through.
An easy call there for David Barry to give his first card.
If you're Indy 11, you've fought and battled for 40 minutes. If you can get through this first half, being a goal up, be a tremendous success for them, especially on the road. You know, as we mentioned, they kind of sat behind, got numbers behind, great individual efforts defensively, and Kelly did what he needed to do, that one opportunity, and put it in the back of the net. And this is a Red Bull team that needs to really go into this locker room at this point. And I'm sure Coach Woniak will talk to him about, bringing a little bit more effort.
This is an Indy 11 squad. They've only conceded 1 goal over their last 3 games. All 3 of those victories. And they seem, Steve, comfortable not being in possession. No one seems to be stressed about defending for this Indy 11 team, and then happy to take their chances when they can.
Yeah, and they're built that way. I mean, anytime you're going to put a guy like Kelly up top by himself, you know what you're going to see here.
So a free kick coming. Pasher was dragged down. Patty Barrett talking to our head official, David Barry, and now he discusses it with Sean Nealis. Nealis, we mentioned, a rookie out of Hofstra. From a family that has good soccer pedigree.
He's a big boy. I can tell you that.
His brother Jimmy was drafted by the Houston Dynamo out of Georgetown. Ended up playing with the New York Cosmos with Iose. He's now standing over this one with the chance to hit it. The leading assist man on the team curls this one in. It's onto the safe hands of Loro. So you mentioned the good for Indy 11. If you're Coach Wolonek, what are you thinking? What's your messaging going to be going into halftime?
Well, everything's got to be a little bit sharper. I mean, you can see in the final third it's just not good enough defensively. They just need to be more organized. I'd like to see somebody be more of a communicator between Scarlett and Nealis. And right here, what we're seeing right now, Buckmaster getting forward, Duncan getting forward. The luxury of getting your outside backs forward, it opens up the midfield, and you can see guys like Shroud get the ball a little bit more.
Almost got that one through for Barlow. Lemma wins it back. Buckmaster now to the feet of Stroud. Stroud hits this shot, and Newton makes the save. Looking for that far post there from Jared Stroud. Evan Newton, another save here in this first half.
And again, I mean, anytime you get your outside backs forward, kind of opens up the defense a little bit more and allows guys in the midfield like Shroud, allows guys, to get the ball at their feet a little bit more, have more time. Bezecourt have more time, and create more opportunities.
Lemma curls this one in, punched away by Newton. All 11 players back to defend for Indy 11. No one to counter through, and now New York Red Bulls 2 will try and get another look at it. And it was knocked away off of Kofi. It'll be a throw-in for the away side.
I'm sure Hackshaw is going to take as much time as possible. We get to see again here, Stroud tries to find that far post, and he did not miss it by much. And a good little push away from Newton.
For Newton, it's been a training exercise. They've all been long-distance shots, some dangerous, but nothing that he's had to really stress about, and he's been clean on all his saves.
And that's kind of the difference between Indy 11. When you play 3 in the back, I mean, you see it as well, and we joked about it before the game. It affords, as a defender, you kind of dumb it down. Like, you know what your responsibility is when you're 3 in the back. You know that guys like Pernally is going to be stepped up against, Barlow a little bit more. But when you play in a flat back 4, sometimes with the diagonal runs and whatever it may be, it's more difficult, and you got to communicate. And I just personally, and I don't hear the communication a little bit. I don't see the communication a little bit. I think that's a reason why Scarlett struggled on that first goal a little bit. But it just had to be a little bit better, a little bit sharper. And I know there's a lot of new players, and you don't know the people exceptionally well, but somebody's got to be a force there.
Duncan curls this one in. It's over Barlow. And when you see Red Bull Sioux shooting from that top of the 18, they're trying to almost dare Indy 11 to come out and defend them there. And the question right now is, how steady will this Indy 11 backline be over the course of this 90 minutes to not panic and jump, to block those early shots and not leave space behind
Well,
them.
and if you have a keeper of Newton's ability that you feel comfortable with, you let it happen. I mean, how many times in Major League Soccer you see like the talented, like, the Timmy Howards of the world and, Robles, and, you talk about the MLS Robles Red Bull team. You'd love nothing more than teams taking 30, 35-yard shots on Robles because he's going to swallow them up.
Bezecourt and Stroud finding a little bit more space here towards the end of this first half. The best look of the game for New York Red Bulls, too, fell to Marcus Epps about 5 or so minutes ago at the top of the 18. But once again, all of those have been long shots. Nealis down the line. Indy 11 looking to make it 6 straight wins and close out this opening stretch in which they've played 4 of their first 5, now 5 of their first 6 games on the road. And if they can hold on here, they'd move to second place in the East to start the season.
Not easy to do. Not easy to do. And in Major League Soccer, definitely not easy to do in USL. So much parity, good talent.
And for a group with 16 changes to the roster.
It's impressive.
It's been the perfect start for Martin Rennie on the season. It's been a perfect start to this game for his Indy 11 side. David Goss and Steve Jolly on the call with you here on ESPN Plus. Thanks so much for joining us. New York Red Bulls do 2 games this week. They have a Wednesday matchup against Birmingham Legion. As I said, Indy 11, basically 3 games in 8 days as they will face off at home against Tampa Bay and North Carolina FC coming up. Stroud with the ball played in. Barlow, he beat Cronulla to that one, but couldn't get it on frame.
Yeah, you mentioned how Red Bull has had quite a few opportunities playing the long shot, and this is exactly where, I think, this Red Bull 2 team excels, is getting the ball to Epps, getting the ball to Stroud's feet, and allow Barlow to make those dangerous runs to near post or back post. We just got to see more of it.
For Red Bulls 2, the scoring responsibilities are on Barlow's shoulders for this game. 6 goals on the year, hasn't found one yet. Dane Kelly continues to stay hot. The USL Player of the Week last week gets the goal to start this one, Steve, and it was exactly what Indy 11 wanted. They sat deep, controlled the game defensively, and got Dane Kelly on the counter.
Kudos to this Indy 11 team. They had a game plan. They sat, like you said, great individual defensive efforts, and then when there was an opportunity to, for King to play the long ball when he was isolated with Kelly, he beat Scarlett and put a great ball in the back of the net. So kudos to this Indy 11 team. Well-deserved 1-0 lead so far.
Indy 11 looking for back-to-back shutouts, but New York Red Bulls 2, the second highest scoring team in the entire USL Championship, looking to get on the scoreboard and get some points once again at home. We've got a good one for you here at MSU Soccer Park. We are excited. Halftime, we will look around the league. A ton of action last night as St. Louis FC still sits on top of the East. Chaos in the West, and highlights, of course, from this first half. Dane Kelly's 13th minute goal, the lone strike so far. We've got more coming up for you here on ESPN Plus.
With MSG Go, the game goes where you go. So you can watch live Red Bulls games anywhere you want. It's free and easy because if you get MSG, you get MSG Go. Watch your favorite team wherever you are with MSG Go, presented by Lexus. Download it for free where you get your apps.
Two teams are in the locker room trying to work their game plans for the second half. Indy 11, a first half lead on the road against New York Red Bull Sioux. And Steve, you know how to pick them. The star player you were looking at coming in, the lone goal scorer, Dane Kelly.
Well, you can see Scarlett's going to be upset with himself that he didn't do a little bit better job. Kyle Duncan slowed to get to him. Anytime you got a guy like Kelly with all of his talent, sometimes you need two defenders, right? You can see right away, right when he beats Scarlett, puts his head down, knows he's going to find that back post, and does a great job finishing this off. But you can see, look how Kyle's a little slow to help out. And that's what you want to see. You know, you're playing forward in the back. You only have one isolated striker up front in Kelly, and so you got to help your teammates every once in a while.
4 goals on the season. His 71st goal in his USL career. Dane Kelly has been a menace all game, and this Indy 11 team are going to look to continue to counter through him.
Yeah, you can see they're going to be looking for him all the time, and they're being a little bit more dangerous, but being a little bit more organized for this Red Bull team is going to be a key driver in the second half. Like to see the defenders be a little bit more vocal. It's not always being about physical. It's about making sure you understand your responsibilities and where you need to be on the field.
And for that man, Sean Nealis, it's been an up and down first half as you see getting called for the foul alongside Jordan Scarlett trying to figure it out. Sean Nealis, in his first year as a professional, has played every single minute for this Red Bull 2 team in 2019.
Yeah, obviously, he's a smart player. He's a talented player. You get drafted in Major League Soccer, but he's a Scholar All-American there at Hofstra. He's gotten some minutes in MLS, and, you know, he's a big guy. He's 6'4", and he's going to take some time to learn kind of that, you know, it's a little bit different here at USL and Major League Soccer than it is in the Colonial Athletic Association. No disrespect to anybody at the Colonial Athletic Association, because I played in the Colonial Athletic Association. But it's a little bit different when you're playing against guys like Kelly, and you got to take it to the next level. Like to see him be more confident and a little bit more vocal here in the second half.
A good first season for Sean Nealis, unfortunately from Massapequa, Long Island, but we'll let that through.
We'll let that slide.
We'll see what they have in store for the second half. Indy 11 leading 1-0. We'll be back with first half highlights and second half action here on ESPN+.
Fleming's around 1. Around 2, still Junior Flemings. He's gonna have a go. Excellent from Junior Flemings. Here's Spees looking for the curler, and what a save from Curtis Anderson. Guadarrama wants it himself. What a goal from Guadarrama.
The cross deflected. What a stop by Brown in the top corner. Another chance here for New Mexico, and they've got the equalizer.
Chidama will strike it with his right foot. Whistle blows. Steps. Strikes. And saved by Rodriguez!
Here's Woodbine into the box. Van Schaik said Van Schaik!
Chance up for Louisville, and again Callum Irving grabs the game by the scruff of the neck as Ben Spees lets one fly and drills it like a Langsdorff header.
That's where Louisville wants to attack, shooting and scoring!
It's saved by Caldwell.
Collier.
Yes!
Knock back towards Spencer! Brilliant finish!
The flick. Could it be 2? Yes, it is. That's Hellman.
Here's Banks. Banks from distance, and that's knocked away.
Gallardo. At the top of the box. Lee gets a touch, still driving and sends it. And into the back of the net.
It's like Joe Giles took almost on the entire defense there. Step left for the shot.
Chipped in, headed away by Lockby. Second chance coming, diving, stopped by Fitzgerald.
Minnesota and with Jacksonville. Nunez, and that finds the side of the net. Most of these, he takes this one.
Back here at MSU Soccer Park, this is what Red Bull Sioux and Indy 11 are playing for. Trying to keep pace with St. Louis FC, who once again got a victory this weekend, this time over Swope Park Rangers. So they sit on 17 points. And for Indy 11, Tempe Rowdies and North Carolina FC, their next 2 games. So they've got a chance here potentially to fall behind, but potentially to put themselves clearly at the top of the East.
Yeah, and the top of the East, when you look at guys like, Nashville and Tampa Bay, those are two teams, North Carolina as well. Those are talented teams that compete on a day-to-day basis, and they're going to get points too. This is why this game becomes so important, especially for this Red Bull team, to just stay up there in the kind of upper echelons of the Eastern Conference.
It was an 88th minute equalizer for Pittsburgh Riverhounds, a 2-2 tie with Nashville. Ottawa Fury with that win move into the playoff spots for the first time this season. Craziness out west as well in the USL as El Paso got a phenomenal home victory over Reno in their matchup at home. And you see Birmingham winning late on that one, and they will come here to New York Red Bulls 2 on Wednesday. Portland's incredible comeback late in the night from that 2-goal deficit means they are still in first place in the Western Conference for T2, sitting right ahead of Tulsa, New Mexico, and Reno. But in the Eastern Conference, as we said to start, it is a mess right now at the top, but a lot of talented teams, and these two teams looking to find their space amongst it. New York Red Bulls 2 out shooting Indy 11 12-1, Steve, but the quality of shots has not been there.
It hasn't been there, and I'd actually like to see this Red Bull team be a little bit better in possession. I mean, having only 53% when you have a team like Indy 11 who's sitting back on you, they just have to be a little bit better, and I think Epps and I think Bezecourt, quite frankly, needs to be a little bit better in terms of dictating the pace of play.
New York Red Bulls 2, not one of the highest percentage passing teams in the league.
Yeah, we were talking to Coach Wolniak. I don't know if he liked us.
I don't know if he did. But normally when they are on the ball, they're aggressive, they're dangerous. That's what we've seen from Indy 11 today is their passing has been purposeful when Indy's gotten the ball and started to counter.
Well, no question about that. And I think King, the example of the goal with King seeing that Kelly was so isolated against Scarlett and playing that long ball, 30, 35 yard. I think that's a great example of what we've kind of seen in terms of the culmination of that first 45 minutes.
Well, these fans here at MSU Soccer Park have gotten used to seeing victories. New York Red Bulls 2, though, lost their most recent home game to Loudoun United. Are they going to follow it up with another one? Indy 11 looking to hold on here as we get to our second half coming up here on ESPN+.
With MSG Go, the game goes where you go. So you can watch live Red Bulls games anywhere you want. It's free and easy because if you get MSG, you get MSG Go. Watch your favorite team wherever you are with MSG Go, presented by Lexus. Download it for free where you get your apps.
Back here at MSU Soccer Park on ESPN+. David Goss and Steve Jolly joining you for this one. New York Red Bulls 2 trying to get back into winning ways, but it's been all Indy 11 on the score sheet. And coming into this one, there was one guy we highlighted, and he's the one who made a difference.
Well, I didn't give King enough credit. Now that it saw that it was kind of a first-time ball, it made it look even a little bit better. Saul Kelly was isolated, and Scarlett had a little bit of defensive mistake there. Could have battled a little bit harder. Duncan was a little slow to defend and help support it as well. And nothing really Lara could do about that one.
Dane Kelly scoring in the opening 5 minutes on the road against Swole Park Rangers last week. Got a second goal in that one to win USL Player of the Week. And it was the danger man that New York Red Bulls 2 knew about, but still could do nothing to slow down. Dane Kelly leading this team in the attack on the flip side for New York Red Bulls 2. Half chances, half chances, half chances. Marcus Epps has probably had the best of their looks.
And we've seen quite a few opportunities where the ball gets to Barlow, and he hadn't been able to get a shot on or anything like that, but he's kind of controlled possession, played the ball out wide or something like that, like we're seeing right here with Kyle Duncan. And you got guys kind of running through. It just needs to be a little bit sharper. This is a Red Bull team that I think will create plenty of chances here in the second half. It's just, what do they do with it? Are they a little bit better? And I still think they need to be a little bit better in terms of possession, and I think Bezecourt is going to be the leader of that.
For Red Bulls 2, it's probably going to be the guys who started this one who are going to get it done. Sebastian Elney on the bench, a backup forward. Otherwise, 4 fullbacks on the bench for New York Red Bulls 2, as well as Kyle Zajic, central midfielder. So this group starting this one is going to have to try and get it done for New York Red Bulls 2. We mentioned a midweek game here at home against Birmingham Legion for New York Red Bulls 2, and then they head on the road at Ottawa, at Tampa after that. And this Indy 11 team heading home for a 5-game homestand, but that homestand holding 3 of the top 6 teams in the Eastern Conference. So for any Indy 11 fan out there, you got to be excited for what you're about to get to, a treat of just constant soccer.
Some good soccer as well, yeah, from the Eastern Conference. So this is an important game for this Indy 11. Try to finish it off. If they can get 3 points here on the road, that'd be huge for this team.
Indy 11 in just their second year in the USL, looking for their first victory on the road against New York Red Bulls 2. Knocked them off last year at home, 3-0 in their second matchup. The New York Red Bulls 2 only 1 loss in 2019. And looking to turn around after trailing here throughout the first half. Tom Barlow kicks us off here for second half action on ESPN+. David Goss and Steve Jolly with you from MSU Soccer Park in Montclair, New Jersey. There's Buckmaster flying forward to start this one. Standard 4-3-3 for New York Red Bulls 2. No changes at halftime. So Evan Loro in goal. Starting center backs Sean Nealis and Jordan Scarlett. Kyle Duncan and Buckmaster, the fullbacks, with Jean-Christophe Kofi and Alema in the holding midfield roles. And then the attack in Epps, Stroud, Bezecourt, and Barlow. Dane Kelly up top for Indy 11. Back to Pasher. Pasher looking for space to shoot into the arms of Loro. Tyler Pasher in the attack, along with Tomas Enovoldsen and Dane Kelly for this Indy 11 squad. 2-man central midfielder Nico Matern and Tyler Gibson. And then a back 3 or 5, whatever you want to call it, of Cornali, Hackshaw, and Barrett. And flanked by Macaulay King as well as Ioze. Steve, does it matter what you call it?
Oh, the formation?
Yeah. What? Because like John Wolenek puts out formations and he calls them one thing. Other people call them other things. Same with what Martin Rennie's doing.
Not to mention they changed that formation on the sheet that we get before the game day lineup before the game anyway. I kind of think it's more of a 4-2-3-1, for Red Bull, but it is what it is. It's
Martin Rennie put out a 4-4-2, which just wasn't true.
No chance.
I took the risk on the graphic line up there.
Yeah.
I think their whole purpose is just to mess with us.
Yeah,
I don't think they care about the opposing teams. Sun's starting to peek out here a little bit. This late afternoon Sunday kickoff to close the weekend of soccer. New York Red Bulls with a 1-0 victory last night against FC Cincinnati, as this one's headed down in the box. New York Red Bulls 2 trying to follow up that victory.
I'd like to see this Red Bull team be a little bit, have some urgency.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like everything's a little slow that first 45 minutes. And, they've got the talent, they've got the ability. Just can they be a little bit better?
47 degrees and overcast. Yeah, it's spring.
I know. Didn't somebody tell me spring happened?
I think there was a snowstorm in the Midwest this weekend in Chicago and Minnesota. So at least we're not there.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
You're such a glass half full kind of guy,
Yeah.
dude.
Well, I just got back from 10 days in Texas where it's warm, but still Texas. So
Yeah.
I'll take whatever I'm getting here.
That's some quality time in Frisco, I hear.
Yep. It's the F Sizzle Town. Shout out to Logan Lane out there watching this broadcast. Don't forget you can tweet at us if you'd like. Ask any questions, send us any comments about this game, soccer in general, whatever's going on.
Well, I'd like to know, was there any GA players that, kind of sparked your interest?
Oh, from the Generation Davis Cup.
Yeah.
The U17 championships here in the U.S. Yes, there were a number of players. This one, you see the replay of that foul. Taken quickly the other way for IOZ. Duncan over to defend this one deep in his own corner.
And there's so much great development here in USL for soccer in this country. And think about GA and the under-17 tournament down there. It's just it's just absolutely amazing seeing just the growth of the league and the talent pool that exists. It's just it's so much fun to watch.
There's a 14-year-old on Toronto FC who's signed to a pro deal.
Yeah, wow.
Like, how different has this game changed in the U.S. and Canada over the last 15 years?
Can't even imagine comparing that compared to what I was doing when I was 14.
It's crazy. And you can see from the players, they're more mature, they're more ready.
Oh, no question.
The technical ability at that age is at a higher level. I think there was an overcorrection about 10 years ago where it was, Americans and Canadians can't play with their feet, so everyone has to be perfect.
Yeah.
But I think it's starting to come back around where you're starting to find balance.
Yeah, and I mean, you think about what happened to our full team with not making the World Cup. That's kind of the same thing. I mean, I think people, the general public, don't really realize what's happening in terms of the foundation of the sport in this country right now. And there's going to be some shocks, I think, when 2026 comes around.
That one too long for Bezecourt. There was definitely a disconnect between the quality players being produced and the players that were part of that team because you didn't see, basically outside of Pulisic, anyone under the age of 30.
Yeah.
That was a part of that roster. And now you're seeing guys like Weston McKinney and Tyler Adams and, those likes.
Well, you got the under-20 World Cup this summer, and some of our best players aren't even going to be able to play. It might not be released, and people are saying that this might be one of our better under-20s of all time, like the 1999 team with the Landon Donovans of the world.
And Yewu, DeMarcus Beasley, that was a good,
that was a really good team
squad. And you saw how much youth development changed after the '94 World Cup, because this one's floated into the far post, and then a lot of those ideas kind of, I guess, got stale in the mid 2000s, and now everything's kind of been restarted again and pushed to another level by USL and Major League Soccer with these academies.
Yeah, I think it's wonderful about USL. I mean, I think I'm a byproduct too. I went to college back in the mid-'90s for the sake of going to college and didn't have any intent of playing professionally. And then next thing you know, '94 happens. And, I can actually recall my college coach saying, hey, this whole Major League Soccer thing, this was the first year or it was coming the first year. Say, you might want to think about it. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm going to go get a job and just, do that kind of thing.
And just be a rec league all-star?
Just be yeah.
Just out on the field on Wall Street, crushing guys.
Just.
But there's definitely some interesting things happening. Adam Armour, who's a left back for North Carolina FC, who was at the tournament as a guest player for Atlanta United, a really special player who's being produced through USL. There's some really good talent coming up. Barlow pushing forward against Cronulla. Fakes the layoff, takes the shot himself, and just wide of the far post.
And that's what we've been talking about Barlow this year, is that he creates so many great opportunities. If he can finish off even half of them, he's already scored 6 goals in 6 games. So he's a talented player and he can score goals. See some opening space there. He can be a little bit better. I like the idea he's trying to find that back post, but he can be a little bit sharper. He had enough space there. And fortunately for him, he's got like a great little platform for him to excel. And if he does excel, then there'll be other opportunities for him. We saw that with Brian White last night with the Major League Soccer Red Bull team, who got an assist on the evening.
And you see it even with the guy Brandon Allen, who scored goals and gets opportunities with Tampa Bay Rowdies and Nashville, some of the biggest teams in the country. Well, this is a platform where everyone is watching these young players.
Well, I mean, we talk about like even ESPN here Plus,
Right.
with having the ability to stream these games. My son watches all these games. He's 9 years old. I can actually recall same kind of time back in 1986 when we had the World Cup. I literally had to walk my entire block. Does anybody have cable TV so I can watch the one game that was on TV, soccer? It's a totally different world now, and it's just wonderful to see.
We are very spoiled right now. Not calling your kids spoiled in any way.
They are. It's okay. I tell them to.
Marcus Epps coming forward. It's a special time for the sport right now. This ball over the top from Hackshaw.
That's partly one of the reasons why I really enjoy being able to have the opportunity to call these USL games, because you're able to see so many young, talented players that you usually don't traditionally get to see, and
from 3 rows away.
It's just great.
Barrett now flying forward. Looking for Enna Voltson. Pasher at one time made his debut against Liverpool for Toronto FC at 16 years old. At the Rogers Center in front of a sold-out crowd, was captain for that one. Has since then traveled the world to play this game, but finding a home with Indy 11. Duncan here, flowing forward. Trying to clip it over the top for Epps, miscommunication.
And this is what's kind of most surprising on this right-hand side. Epps and
turnover here. Bezecourt a chance to shoot, and deflected by Barrett.
I was mentioning Epps and Kyle Duncan. They traditionally, when they play on the right-hand side together, usually do a great job communicating with each other and kind of making some overlapping runs and creating enough space for Kyle to be more involved in the first half, more involved than he was in the first half.
Duncan here, on the edge of the 18. His cross is blocked by Gibson, and it'll be a corner kick coming for New York. Kyle Duncan, young professional himself.
See here, he's desperately trying to get to that that end line. Exactly what you're supposed to do. Worst case scenario, you get the corner kick. Good job there by Kyle Duncan.
A corner kick coming here for New York. Alive on the top of the 6. Still around for New York Red Bulls too. And Stroud's final shot clipped over the crossbar. No deflection in the end.
And Jared's got to be better here, and he knows it right away. Good little service. The ball comes down inside the 6-yard box. Flicks it over to Stroud. Good job by Barlow to find him, and for him to put that over the bar, that's just not good enough.
Jared Stroud led this team in assists last year. And was 5th in the league with 11 assists, but had 7 goals. And he's been asked to take a more central role this year. Bezecourt not normally with this group. Florian Velo, of course, not playing as well. So a lot of the attacking responsibility is on Jared Stroud here in 2019.
Yeah, and, I can recall, calling the game against Hartford, and he did a great job there in the center of the park. And I guess the biggest thing, or at least the difference I see with him as opposed to Bezecourt's a little bit slower, likes to play kind of left-right sometimes with the ball. Jarrett was a little bit more north-south, and I think that made a big difference in the game. And quite frankly, I think that's what Bezecourt needs to be a little bit more today, is a little bit north-south as opposed to east-west. And you can see that there is space here for them. And here Stroud did a great job finding the space here. Just got to push those outside wide guys a little bit better, be a little bit sharper in that final third, and the opportunities will come.
IOZ sweeping that one away. And now Duncan infield to the feet of Stroud. Little room for that left-footed shot is blocked. Who's up and who's down? Where does your club sit? Find out every Monday in the official USL Championship Power Rankings, only on USLChampionship.com. I already mentioned some of the big results this weekend for the teams on top of the West and East. And this could be the biggest result of the weekend if Indy 11 can hold on for a 3rd straight road victory here before that 5-game homestand, starting off with Tampa. Stroud now off the layoff from Barlow. Blue shirts around him. He goes down, and one of the 2 fouls eventually gets called by David Barry.
Yeah, this is the spot that, everybody after practice sits around for 15, 20 minutes, even the defenders, and says, you know what, great little angle. You can go near far post here. Got all the options of the world. We're only about 22, 23 yards out.
So I think the first foul there on Barlow wasn't called. A second foul was here called against King, because it seems like that's where the free kick's being taken from. So an even better opportunity. You see Lemma's left foot as well as Bezecourt's and Stroud's right foot over this one. It'll be Bezecourt, hits the wall, second chance on the ground, knocked down and cleared. Duncan now stepping forward. Kyle Duncan with the drive, and it goes wide of the near post. So Bezecourt calling rank here on this free kick. Couldn't get it over the wall.
Yeah, he was definitely. Oh, whoa. Might want to see that one. That was a close one. Yeah, but that second hit was a big one, and Scarlett, unfortunately, kind of deflected it. But the urgency, I don't see the urgency, and that's the biggest thing that kind of concerns me with this Red Bull team, David, is that once there are turnovers, you like to see not just 3 or 4 numbers. What about 5 and 6? Where's Kyle Duncan on the outside? Where's Buckmaster on the outside?
Barlow here for Bezecourt, charging forward, and a penalty kick coming for New York Red Bulls 2. David Barry, our head official, following that one up, and a yellow card will come out for Macaulay King.
Yeah, there's no reason whatsoever to question that call. That was an obvious one, and you can see when they get forward with pace, this Red Bull team is so dangerous in creating opportunities for themselves, and you're seeing Stroud step up to this one.
Jared Stroud, 2 goals here on the season, trying to tie this one up. Got the first goal of the game for New York Red Bulls 2. It'll be Jared Stroud here with the right foot, and he simply puts it in past Newton, and we are tied.
Now, this is going to be an interesting point in the game. How does this Indy 11 team respond? Do they sit in the shell? They allow this Red Bull team to kind of take over? Or do they respond in terms of trying to find Kelly a little bit more and counterattacking? But Stroud steps up with this, and all the confidence in the world, knew exactly where he wanted to place this one. Newton guesses wrong, and Stroud gets the equalizer.
Jared Stroud's 3rd goal of the year. Calmly put that one away. There was a penalty kick called against Macaulay King, who was chasing Bezecourt from behind. This throw-in will go here for New York Red Bulls 2. Steve, it was the break, though, that New York Red Bulls 2 kind of needed. As you said, they've been a little lethargic in the attack. Now, at 1-1, how does Indy 11 play it?
Yeah, how do they play it? And you can see Bezecourt, he's looking to get the ball quickly and play it, and this is exactly what you want to see. Fortunately, you get to see another replay here, and I mean, it was so obvious that he trips him up a little bit, and he's not going to be happy with it, but it is what it is.
Well, Bezecourt's going away from goal on the touch, and that's got to be the frustrating thing for King, is he'd made the recovery run, but let him go wide and then deal with it.
Yeah, you got to let him go wide, and then Bezecourt, he's a smart player. You knew he was going to make the turn and try to pick up the foul there.
Right.
I mean, that was inevitable.
So the sun poking out as New York Red Bulls 2 have a little bit of life in this one. Now Barlow chasing. King looking to head it back. Newton comes out. He gets a touch to it. And the flag goes up.
I don't know about that one, Dave.
I don't know if it's a foul or offside.
I don't know about that one. We're going to have to see that one again, because it looked like to me that Barlow just kind of got to the ball a little bit earlier. And
you could see this ball hang up on the ground for King, and he did not want that header in that spot.
He got tripped up a little bit with the turf, too. And
I guess the referee ruling that Newton had possession of that one, kicking it out of his hands.
Sounds good to me.
I'm just out here covering for all the officials across across the universe, which means I
paid employee of the union
for the universe, and I should be getting good calls in my co-ed game on Monday.
There you go.
I'm just throwing that out there because, you know, I got my ankles cut up last week. As Scarlett gets a block in there. A 13th minute strike from Dane Kelly put Indy 11 ahead for the entire first half. Weren't able to guide it through so far here in the second half. But is there a winner left in this one? 4-1 the first time these two teams met last year. 3-0 the second time.
See Loro trying to organize his defense. He knows that it's important that everybody understands their individual responsibilities here and getting this one out.
Corner kick played in. Headed away by Barlow. Now Iose goes by Epps easily. Closed down by Buckmaster, clipped to the far post. Only Stroud is there, and he safely puts it out for a corner kick. Or incorrectly, one of the two. I couldn't tell.
Give him the benefit of the doubt. He just scored a goal, right?
Stroud, his third goal of the year, to go along with 2 assists. First substitute of the game coming for Indy 11. It'll be the captain, Matt Watson, to come on for Tyler Pasher. We've seen Watson slot in at wingback as well as in central midfield. So we'll see how this move goes for Pasher, though. Not a lot of touches, but was dangerous in the time he was able to connect with Kelly.
Yeah, we saw it 2 or 3 times in the first half where, got forward and, kind of withdrawn a little bit, obviously, from Kelly and tried to help support Kelly when he was isolated.
Headed away. Watson will get his first touch. And this one floated, and Loro takes it, falls into the goal. No claim for a goal, though, from anyone.
Well, he keeps that ball from crossing the line, right? Doesn't matter about him.
Wouldn't be shocked to see a situation where Iose gets pushed into the attack full time, and Watson comes in as that wing back. We'll see how Indy 11 lines it up. Martin Rennie has known Watson for quite a while, coached him at the Vancouver Whitecaps back in 2012 and 2013, as well as the Carolina Railhawks for 3 years before that.
It shows you how confident he is in him, just knowing that he's the captain of the team and he's not, a starter right now.
Well, 34 years old, so he gets to manage his minutes.
Yeah.
Out of Redditch, England, UMBC graduate. Has been here in the United States now for 13 years playing soccer.
Ooh.
Dane Kelly going up there, getting called for the foul on Kofi.
Yeah, you might get the bro hug, but that still hurts a little bit.
No, it makes it all okay. It cleans it all up.
Don't get me wrong, I love the bro hug, but that comes in with the shoulder a little bit, and that doesn't feel so good.
Scarlett, take this one quickly. New York Red Bulls 2. The goal in the 60th minute from Jared Stroud to tie it up. Which of these teams has a winner in them? Buckmaster, his shot is blocked. Stroud now with the second touch. Has it knocked away. It'll be a corner kick coming for New York.
You can see there, New York doing a little bit better job getting numbers forward. Don't like seeing just, 2 or 3 guys running forward. Like to get more numbers.
It'll be Stroud's right-footed in-swinger here. Put on the near post once again, headed away. All 11 players back to defend for Indy. Bezecourt, he's onside, cross-played in. Scarlett can't win it, and Iose pushing the attack. Turnover there. Duncan now back the other way. Duncan goes down behind the play. Epps' cross is put in and knocked away for a corner kick.
I gotta tell you, I think that was a foul on Duncan in a spot in the field that I think I'd rather have an opportunity to put that as a set piece. You let the ball play on, but if you're a center official, you got to call that one.
Lemma now with the cross. And that one rolls out on the far post. Select is the official ball supplier of the USL Championship and many of the finest leagues in the world since 1947. Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit selectsportamerica.com. Perfect conditions for a game here. 50 degrees, no rain.
Perfect. I'd pull something this 50 degrees.
Oh.
I need a good 72 and sunny before I start moving.
You're so southern.
And old.
And old, that's fair.
Thanks.
Well, I would never deny you. I would want to say you were wrong. If I had said it, it would have been wrong. But I only agree with you.
It would have hurt a little bit more. You're right.
Duncan clipped over the top. Once you start bringing your son to stuff, then, when your son knows more players than you do, that's when you start to reach the point.
Very true.
Duncan coming forward. Epps battling down the line. A little bit more pop in the step for New York Red Bulls, too, since the penalty kick. But is there that final opportunity? New York Red Bulls, too, the last 2 years, they've led USL in second-half goals. This has been a time in the game when they have found their feet. A second substitution coming. It'll be Kenny Walker to come on for Indy 11. Walker, a long-time USL veteran in his first year with Indy. After leaving FC Cincinnati, he's got 3 assists already on the season.
That's a luxury for Rennie to bring on these veterans, these older players that kind of manage the minutes, but also to get them on important times in the game where you're looking for these guys and their leadership.
Walker, a like-for-like change here. A true center mid comes on in place of Nico Matern for his 4th appearance of the year. Had 21 starts last year for FC Cincinnati in their final year in USL, losing to New York Red Bulls, too, in the playoffs. Barlow's onside here. He's in on goal, one-on-one. He rolls it in. His 7th of the season, and Tom Barlow puts New York Red Bulls 2 ahead.
We've mentioned time and time again today that Barlow is such a dangerous player. Given the opportunity to break free, he was going to try to put one in the back of the net. Now for the 7th time in 2019, Tom Barlow isolated, just him in the goal. And cool as a cucumber.
The first time we've seen the sun break through today, as does New York Red Bulls too. And Steve, those are the goals Barlow has scored all year. It's his first time, though, that he's really gotten in behind the back line.
It really is a shock to me that it took close to, almost 70 minutes for Tom Barlow to get kind of that break free that we see a good 3 or 4 times a game. But you like to see the confidence. You can see how it's grown more and more in 2019, where he just didn't have any fear whatsoever to put that one in the back of the net. I think we're going to get this game opened up finally.
New York Red Bulls, too, trailed for the bulk of this game, 47 minutes. Behind Indy 11's Dane Kelly strike. And now 2 goals in a matter of 8 minutes for Red Bulls, too. And Dane Kelly off running the other way. Scarlett chases him down, and he wins that one cleanly.
I don't know what Coach Olniak said to this team in the locker room. Obviously something was said, because this is a different Red Bull team that we saw in the first half.
And especially since the goal, these last 10 minutes, they've started to play with the energy that you've expected from this New York Red Bull 2 squad. The winner of this game, if there's a clean winner, will move to 2nd place in the Eastern Conference for at least a few more days.
No, we knew there was going to be goals. I mean, this is a Red Bull team that scored 14 so far this season. Indy 11-11. It was just a matter of time.
Buckmaster now pushing forward into the feet of Stroud. And you have to think Coach Rennie's going to be upset, because they've done such a good job as a team playing deep, not allowing those through balls, forcing Red Bull 2 to play through them or shoot from in front of them. And then Barlow gets the one chance Red Bull 2 are trying to create.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first half. You think about, how they performed in the 11. They did everything right, especially being on the road and having 3 in the back. And you don't usually see, when you have 3 in the back, kind of that breakaway goal. And we saw it just because it was a breakdown. And, you can see that the confidence of this Red Bull team grows as the minutes kind of clock down.
And Coach Rennie, we said, has 3 games to manage for the week, so he made 2 changes here in central midfield in Walker and Watson. Seems to have lost a little bit of the shape that was so efficient for this side in the first half. Trying to manage those minutes of those experienced players. Kofi here, bouncing off a few tackles. Keeps possession. New York Red Bulls, too, in their alternate grays against this Indy 11 side in their all-blue kit. Duncan's ball into the feet of Kofi.
Just better soccer right here. This is good to see.
Buckmaster in the final third. Stroud with the layoff. New York Red Bulls 2 back in possession. Bezecourt wide for Stroud. Stroud, early cross on the ground into the arms of Newton.
Yeah, so much better soccer by Red Bull. You can see that they're dictating the pace of play more, gaining more and more confidence.
And you can just see the back heels from Stroud, the flicks, the layoffs, as you said, starting to look more comfortable for this New York Red Bull 2 team.
It looks like you in the co-ed game.
Oh, yeah. That's
all that confidence.
Hey, I'm like Riquelme. If you can get it to my feet, it's magic. You just got to play it directly to the inside of my right foot.
Directly to one location.
Yes. Anywhere else, and it's a bad pass from you. Header back in. New York Red Bulls 2. Off and flying here in the second half. Bezecourt's early shot spilled for a moment, and then Newton recovers. Took 60 minutes to break through. Now Red Bulls 2 trying to make it 3 in 15 minutes, and Barlow taps it in, and he's offside. The flag is up on the far side. There was a turnover. Epps can't believe the call. The New York Red Bulls 2 had almost had their third goal in 15 minutes.
And I was about to question Newton on why he wanted to play so quickly out of the back like that, because that's kind of factors right into this New York team in terms of how they kind of pick up the first line of defense, and you can see they really struggle getting out of the back. We'll see here if really, that's a close one. I'm going to give that one to Barlow.
It was a tight call between him and Cronali. Clearly ahead of the ball, but Cronali's seemed to be level with him. But our assistant referee and Stefan Dejvu right on top of that one. Had his flag up immediately. First sub coming for New York. It'll be Kyle Zajic coming on for Jean-Christophe Kofi. So a like-for-like change in central midfield here for New York. Steve, for Kofi, this game didn't play out as you expected, so changed his role a little bit. What did you think of his performance?
Yeah, I mean, I think he kind of did what he always does. He's kind of just a solid little 6. He's none too happy, obviously, coming off the field, but Zajic plays kind of that same role as well, and it's kind of sometimes it's about managing minutes more than anything else when it's USL, because they play so many games within a small period of time. And for younger players, that's tough. You know, I think that's sometimes for the first, couple games of their professional career, they don't realize that, you're a player, you grew up your entire life, you play every single minute because you're one of the better players, and next thing you know, you get into
pressure here on Newton.
USL or Major League Soccer, and you know what, you got to manage the minutes because there's 3 games in 8 days and things like that, and it's sometimes tough for the younger players.
We hear about the mental side too of playing high quality minutes, not just being out there, because as you fatigue, even if you're not feeling it, you turn off for a second, and that's a goal. Ball thrown in here to Epps. Ozzy up the line, back out for a New York Red Bull 2 throw-in. Oh, excuse me, Indy 11 throw-in. So 1 sub made by New York, 2 so far for Indy 11. They still have Ali Diakate on the bench, the one forward option. Eugenie Starikov and Ilya Illich, 2 of the star forwards for this team, out injured to start the year.
Great job there by Epps. This is exactly, I tell younger players all the time, like when you get the ball out wide, your job is to get to the end line. Try to get it across, and worst case scenario, if it comes up for a corner, then so be it. But you got to get the ball across. Take the end line.
Cross played in by Bezecourt. Over Scarlett, punched away. Zajic gets his first touch of the game. And Nealis wins possession back. There'll be a throw-in coming here for Indy 11. Don't forget your USL Game of the Week in the USL Championship coming up, featuring Memphis 901, the new expansion side, visiting Louisville City for the first time ever. It'll be April 30th, this Wednesday at 7 p.m. That one, of course, on ESPN+. New York Red Bulls 2 will be home against Birmingham on Wednesday. Indy 11 will be home against the Tampa Bay Rowdies on Wednesday. It looks like King right now holding his face off the collision with Zajic. It'll be a yellow card just moments after coming on for the Red Bull Academy player, Kyle Zajic.
And we're going to see exactly what happened there because Coach John Wozniak was off his bench saying that King was the instigator.
Seemed like a clean 50-50.
Yeah, I mean, you can see why Coach Wozniak was frustrated with that call.
The Jolly family not agreeing with that yellow card. Trying to toughen up the game just a little bit more. You can see Coach Rennie talking to our fourth official, Cristiano Centeno. John Wolnick being surprisingly quiet over there at the same time. Free kick coming now for Indy 11. Hackshaw flicks this one on. Still alive in the box, trying to get a chance on goal. Cleared at first. Jose's cross is blocked. Hackshaw wins it back on the end line. As it knocked away, it'll be a corner kick as Scarlett is incredulous.
Yeah, but he's wrong. Hackshaw did a great job there. All credit to Hackshaw. You can see he does a great job kind of holding the line, and it's most definitely Scarlett who plays it off.
Neville Hackshaw, 1 goal in his entire professional career, 2 goals already this year. This one's crossed in. Walker's header goes wide. Back in for Hackshaw, who flicks it on. Still alive in the box. The flag's now up on the near side. So it was off Hackshaw's flick on that Cronali was offside. Final 10 or so minutes coming here. 13th minute goal from Dane Kelly, his 4th of the year. Put Indy 11 ahead. New York Red Bulls, who finally responded with a PK in the 60th minute. And Barlow put his team ahead for his 7th of the year, which moves him into a first-place tie for the Golden Boot right now in the USL Championship.
This is an important 10 minutes here for Red Bull. At home, up on goal. Can they finish it off?
How do you not lose your philosophy, your shape, your tempo for Red Bulls too, while also not giving up chances?
Yeah, defensively, you got to understand, first and foremost, your responsibility is not giving up goals. So it's now come to the point where in the game where you say, okay, do I go, do I not go on the outside? I've been pushing. This team needs to go forward, needs to get forward, but now you got the lead. Now you got to be smarter in the final 10 and just finish off the game. Coach Wozniak will make some substitutions. Obviously, the new people who enter the game will be involved in their knowing their responsibility is closing off the game. You obviously bring in a guy like Weymouth to just kind of, seal up the midfield and probably do the same thing here with Elney.
So Sebastian Elney, the rookie out of University of Maryland, will come on for Jared Stroud, who leaves with his 3rd goal of the season for the Colgate graduate. Stroud tied for the all-time lead for assists in Red Bull 2 history. Now he's got 10 goals in his professional career. Elney brings a little bit more of a physical presence than Stroud, but looks like it'll be a like-for-like change out wide. Elney was college teammates with Alex Cronali. Center back for Indy 11. Those two Terrapins will get to match up.
Good to see that Indy 11 is still pushing forward, trying to get that equalizer.
Only 1 loss on the season on this Indy 11 side. It was a similar situation, the home opener and the opener of the season. They were up 1-0 against St. Louis FC. Ended up falling 2-1 in that one. And they were up 1-0 in this one and currently trailing 2-1. They led Charlotte in their second game 2-0. Won that one 3-2. The defense has tightened up since those first 2 games, except for that 10-minute stretch really today. They were clean defensively once again here at MSU Soccer Park. Walker sprays it wide. Enil Voltsin gets his laces through that one, but can't beat the defense. Duncan now under pressure. And a Voltson comes away with it. His cross to the back post, and there's no one there to put it in. It'll roll out for a throw-in.
Duncan's got to be better there, David. You know, we talk about the next level. You can't lose the ball in the back like that so easily. And you can see Loro, he was like just praying that that ball was going to go wide at that point. Oh, Duncan's got to be better. A little bit sharper here in the back.
Neil is now talking to Buckmaster, as it looks like Marcus Epps is down on the field, getting stretched out by Tom Barlow. You got to love it when the teammate becomes a medic all of a sudden.
Oh, why not, right?
Coach Wolnick not happy right now with the referees. But overall, Steve, it wasn't a performance he wanted for large stretches, but you've seen at least a reaction from his team.
Yeah, you can see, you know, so doesn't look like, can't really tell exactly what happened there. But, yeah, the reaction to this team in the first 45 minutes just wasn't Red Bull soccer, let's be honest. I mean, this is a team that usually gets at it, sees a lot of urgency, pushes numbers forward. We didn't really see any of that there in the first half, and whatever was said in the second, in the locker room at halftime by Coach Wolnick, who we see here, made all the difference in the world because this team came out with a lot more urgency. They dictated the pace of play through the midfield. You saw the outside backs get forward a lot more, and you know, this was a different team, and obviously Barlow, so dangerous when he gets the ball inside the 18-yard box, and he's been getting the ball and the opportunities a lot more, and you know, that one where they called him offside, I would question that one again. It looked like it was onside for me.
You saw Martin Rennie there. For his team, it was almost 99% the performance they wanted. And you knew it was never going to be an easy one. You're going home for 5 straight games. Maybe you weren't counting the points out of this one, but they were close for 60 or so minutes, and they barely put a foot wrong, and it ends up being a penalty kick against King on a play where Bezecourt's not even goal dangerous at the moment. That really pulled them apart.
I mean, you like the style of play that they're trying to create here against this Red Bull team. You like what they did in terms of counterattack through Kelly. They did everything they really kind of needed to do, and they still have plenty of time to get that equalizer, more than 5 minutes here. And, you know, you would expect a guy like Kelly, who's been so dangerous for so long here in USL, to get a couple more opportunities at least.
We saw drama late to close out the USL slate last night across the Eastern and Western conferences. Is there a surprise one here for Indy 11 to get some points and New York Red Bulls 2 to try and seal this one away with a third? As Steve said, Tom Barlow put one in the back of the net, was called offside about 10 minutes ago, which would have been the third goal. Kelly now chasing this one. He beats Scarlett to it. Duncan recovers. Kelly blocks the second clearance, and then Duncan blasts it long. But Steve, 2 Red Bull 2 defenders there on their back foot, just not being aggressive against Dane Kelly.
That's the communication that really questioned between the two, and I know that they haven't had too many minutes with each other, but Scarlett and Niels have to be a little bit better.
So Kim Dwan-Yan, the South Korean full international veteran, comes on here for his second appearance of the year. And for his second appearance of the year, Janusz Luba will come on. Luba comes on for Epps, draft pick out of Fordham University. Of course, the alma mater of Coach John Wolnick. Luba got the start in his first ever game against Loudoun United, now his second appearance here of his pro career.
He played the back line against Loudoun United. Now he plays in that kind of left midfield spot. Well, obviously understanding more of his defensive responsibility here in the final 5 minutes.
So it's Macaulay King to go off in place of Kim. Kim will step into central midfield. Watson will slide out wide right, where he came off the bench and played for a stretch against Bethlehem in the last game. That one a 3-0 win. Martin Rennie, of course, ran into Kim, coaching in South Korea. Kim over 70 cap for the South Korean national team, time with West Brom, as well as an appearance in the 2006 World Cup. Closing out his career with a new challenge in the United States.
Actually thought he'd probably get a little bit more minutes today. I was surprised that they waited so long to get him on the field.
Yeah, Coach Rennie made 2 central midfield subs,
Yeah.
but they were around the goals, so maybe not the moves he would have made
Because of the,
if he'd waited 30 seconds
Yep.
more. Unfortunate for him, and then now gets a chance to bring Kim on and try and create that goal. Elney pushing forward. He's got a runner on the outside. Can't hit that one clean for Luba. Janusz Luba out of Germany, part of what's becoming a strong international group of players in college soccer from Europe, South America, as well as Africa. Kim and Watson playing out of tight spaces, and now Indy 11 looking to break. Ball over the top. And Nealis is the first one to that.
Great job keeping it in play, finding Bezecourt. Nealis.
Nealis and Scarlett have battled with Dane Kelly all day. They were beaten really on their first test, Steve, but since then, it's gotten better at least.
It has gotten better, especially in the second half. And Nealis, Nealis had a great game there against the Columbus Crew for the Red Bull MLS side. And, it's just a matter of getting, the minutes and understanding, the player that you're playing against, what are their strengths and weaknesses, and kind of working your way out of it. And it's a lack of a better way of saying it. It's just becoming more of a pro and understanding what your responsibilities are. And a better performance here in the second half. And Kelly hasn't been nearly as dangerous as he was in the first half.
Nealis also has a monster throw-in, just to add on to everything else he brings to the table. David Goss and Steve Jolly here on ESPN Plus with you. Final moments of this one. Indy 11 led most of the first half. Red Bulls 2 responded 2 goals in 9 minutes in the second half. The first from the penalty kick spot. The second, a through ball for Tom Barlow to score his league-leading 7th goal of the year.
Some say with eighth goal, right?
Yeah.
The conspiracy, that is. Tom Barlow's extra goal.
Barlow, 10 goals all of last year. And already not even a quarter of the way through this season has almost matched. That as the foul will go against New York Red Bulls 2 here. We enter a minimum of 4 minutes of stoppage time. As the sun breaks out and shines down on the field. And Indy 11's got to roll the dice here. Everyone forward, except for Evan Newton. Floated in, flicked on. Kelly chasing, and Laurel falls over that one.
You would think there'd be a couple minutes of injury time. You're a good service end and good little knock on. Kelly just a couple steps away, and Laura's going to take his time. You see him diving on the ground and holding on.
Connolly going back towards his own goal. Clears it away. Bezecourt putting some pressure on, puts it out for a goal kick. For Bezecourt, it wasn't the ideal performance as he gets himself more into game fitness, but it was a good game for him.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Bezecourt, and let's be honest, I don't think it was one of his better games, but he's just so talented. It's just, every single time he gets the ball, he's in the dangerous, but I just wish he could kind of dictate the pace of play a little bit more than he did today.
Barlow trying to get on the end of that deflected cross. Bezecourt on the bench last night against FC Cincinnati. Didn't get into the game, so got the assignment to start here and go the 90 for New York Red Bulls too. It wasn't the style of performance that fans have become accustomed to. Forcing turnovers, pressing high with energy, but
this is what I'm used to. Yeah.
An opportunity here to maybe put this one away. He cuts back, and Barlow puts it on the hands of Newton. Like Bezecourt let the defense recover.
But that's the Bezecourt that we kind of have known and seen so often here. Just a difference maker. He's so talented and so comfortable with the ball at his feet. And such a dangerous, dangerous left foot.
And as this game opens up, as Indy pushes, Bezecourt finding more space. It's Luba in on goal, clips it past the goalkeeper, and it rolls just wide of that far post.
Good weighted pass there by Bezecourt. Luba getting forward to his dominant left foot. He tries that nice little cheeky left chip. Find the far post, but didn't find it.
Janis Luba, an assist in his first professional soccer game last week against Loudoun United. Looking for a goal to add to that in his second game. Final few moments of this one. New York Red Bulls 2 clinging on to a 1-goal lead. It took a while to come back from the early deficit for the home side. New York Red Bulls 2 on the verge of moving to 5-1-1 on the season. It would be their fastest stretch to get to their first 5 wins in the club's history. Watson gets to the end line. His cross headed away by Zajic. This could be the last opportunity here for Indy 11. Kim brings it down. Fakes the first cross. The second one is blocked. Corner kick coming. Not much time to waste here for Indy 11. Will be the South Korean to take this one. Serves it in. Easily headed away by Barlow at the near post. Opportunity wasted in the final whistle from David Barry on this one. New York Red Bulls 2. Steve, they go down early. They battle back. Lifeless at times in the first half, but in the second half, they had that pop and they found the 2 goals.
Yeah, fair score line. I mean, this is a Red Bull team that was much more dangerous in the second half. Indy 11 should be credited for the first 45 minutes. They did exactly what they wanted to do. They counterattacked through Kelly, and Kelly gave them that first goal. But it's Red Bull who deservingly got the win today.
A few half looks, but Tom Barlow, 7th goal of the year. He's carrying the load.
It is. I mean, you're talking about, what, 16 goals in 7 games for this Red Bull team. Barlow, he creates opportunities. Today he got 1. He could have gotten 2 or 3. And that's just what we've come to expect from Tom Barlow in 2019.
John Wolenek producing maybe the next big striker for New York Red Bulls 2 as Barlow moves in a tie for Golden Boot in the USL Championship early on in the season. We'll be back with all your post-game, full game highlights and post-game action here in just a moment on ESPN+.
Rema gets it back. He will take a strike.
Played in. Laurel gets a hand to it.
Denied by Laurel from point blank.
He's standing on his head right now.
Marcus Epps finds some space.
Barlow putting it in, back of the net. No slowing down, number 74. New York puts the exclamation point on this one tonight to go off 4-0.
An early clash at the top of the Eastern Conference between New York Red Bulls 2 and Indy 11 at MSU Soccer Park. David Goss and Steve Jolly here on ESPN Plus with you for New York Red Bulls 2. They move into second place in the Eastern Conference, and a professional, you could say, game from this team, rebounding from a bad goal early in the game to give one up to come back and win.
But also rebounding from a poor result against Loudoun United too, and this is a well-deserved win for this Red Bull 2 team. One of the best starts, the best start in Red Bull 2 history. You know, you see the shots 28-5, and that's kind of what we expected here against this Indy 11 team that was going to sit back and counter to a talented Kelly.
13th minute counterattack goal for Dane Kelly put this team for Indy 11 ahead on the road, looking for their 3rd straight road win of the year. New York Red Bulls 2 responded. A 60th minute penalty kick goal for Jared Stroud, drawn by Vincent Bezecourt, and then a 69th minute winner for Tom Barlow to put New York Red Bulls 2 firmly into second place. Both these teams back on Wednesday as we have entered the stretch run of spring in the USL Championship. Two of the teams we expect to see again in the playoffs later this year going to battle, and it was a good one here at MSU Soccer Park. For myself, David Goss, Steve Jolly, and everyone else, thanks so much for watching, and have a great weekend.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.